Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this vlog. I titled it Missouri or Misery because one, I like plays on words and alliterations and things like that. And two, I didn't think that you would click on it if I titled it My Thoughts on the Ecclesia. I am in Iowa for Christmas to be with my family, and I live in Tennessee, so it's kind of a long trip. And you know, you get that feeling, oh man, I think I forgot something. Well, I did forget a few things, like I forgot this banana bread that Pastor Mary Beth made for me, and I was going to bring it to my family and share. I forgot shoes, so the only shoes that I have are these. So those are my Christmas shoes that I'm going to be wearing to church and everything like that. Fantastic. And let's see. Oh, I forgot gloves. So I guess I'm going to be cold. And most importantly, I forgot my wallet in Tennessee. Thankfully, my pastor was able to find it in my place just right away. But that puts me in a bind because, you know, you kind of need money to pay for stuff like gas. Gas makes the car go. And so I was kind of stuck in St. Louis for a little bit. And so I realized that outside of St. Louis, about an hour away, I'm like, okay, you know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look up on my phone. Yay, smartphones. I'm going to look up where the closest United Methodist Church is because, you know, I have a lot of history with the Methodist Church. My dad's a Methodist pastor, so I've been around the Methodist Church for a while. And then I've also worked in 2 different Methodist churches. So I'm like, hey, I know the Methodist Church. It'll be great, right? Super easy. So I drive to this church. I'm going to leave the church nameless because I am a good person. So I go to this first church, the Methodist church, and I don't really find anybody because they're away, and that's okay. But the few people that I do interact with, it's pretty reluctant on their part, and so I just feel not super welcome, feel super awkward, like more than normal. So I'm like, okay, there's no one here. I can wait here for an hour, but I really want to get on the road. So I looked up on my smartphone again, another church that's close by. And so I went to this Presbyterian church. I'm not going to say its name because I'm a good person. So I go to this Presbyterian church, and at this point I am starting to get below that quarter tank line. And so I'm getting a little nervous. I don't really have a whole lot of gas to spend just going from place to place anymore. I have to be very selective. So I'm like, all right, you know, church, good people, Jesus, it's gonna be good. So I go to this Presbyterian church and I find the church office, and there's 2 men talking over here and then a group of women. And so I kind of try and make my presence known while not intruding on their conversations, which is really hard to do. Kind of poked my head in and out of the hallway multiple times. It was weird. But eventually this woman says to another person, hey, there's someone here at the church. And she's like, oh, hello, how can I help you? And I say, hi, my name is Matt Barrick. I'm a youth director from Tennessee. I'm going from Tennessee to Iowa to spend Christmas with my family. But you see, I forgot my wallet in Tennessee, and so I don't have any way to pay for gas. So I was wondering if you guys might be able to help me out. Like I said, I am a pastor's kid. I have been in ministry. So I know that people tell these false stories to church workers. They take advantage of them. I hate it. I've been taken advantage of. So I know how this sounds, right? But, you know, obviously because I'm telling the truth, I'm able to back it up. But she just kind of looks at me and she's like, well, our church doesn't really do that. It's not really my department. I'll ask the youth director because handing out money is the youth director's job? Whatever. So she calls the youth director. The youth director doesn't pick up. She's like, I don't know where she is. Let's see. She goes over to the pastor and kind of whispers something to him. I don't know what they say. And then he just kind of looks at me like, go ahead, tell me your story. But they don't ask me that, so it's kind of awkward. And I'm just like, okay, well, I tell him the same thing that I told her before. And he just is like, yeah, our church doesn't really hand out cash. And there's no gas cans on the church property, so I guess we're not able to help you. Sorry. And I'm like, seriously? Like, you guys can't do anything? And so I'm just like, all right, thank you, and just leave. And on the way out, he's like, good luck. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, that's the best you got, Mr. Pastor, sir? So I call up one of my friends, Nicholas. I had some choice words to say that I'm not going to repeat. So then I go to the other church, back to the original Methodist church, because I'm like, hey, maybe they're back by then and maybe they can help me out. I mean, come on, surely a church, right? Churches are supposed to help people. So I get to this other church, and again, I'm just sitting there waiting. There's not really anyone there. And this woman enters the office, but she just kind of ignores me sitting there on a bench. It's fine, whatever. And then eventually she kind of comes out and she's like, hi, can I help you? And I'm like, yes. Tell her the same story that I told the other people over at the Presbyterian church. And she's like, well, do you have your driver's license on you? And in my head, I'm like, why would I have my driver's license on me? I told you my wallet is in Tennessee. That's why I'm asking you for money. I don't carry my driver's license in my shoe or in my purse or something like that. If I had a purse, I probably would have left it in Tennessee as well. But I'm just like, no, I don't have my driver's license on me. She's like, well, we need a driver's license for liability reasons. So if you don't have one, then I'm gonna have to say no. So that's 2 out of 2 churches that are not willing to help out a youth director. Seriously? So that just blows my mind. So I was very mad. Eventually though, I went to my bank and I was able to withdraw money from myself. So thank you, Matt. Good job. And thank you to Regions Bank for their customer service and for helping me out when churches would not. Okay, so here are some observations that I've made from all of this experience. Because, you know, I'm a mature guy. I like to process and I like to think through things. My first observation for both churches was that I was a stranger to these people, and they all seemed fairly reluctant to engage with me. And so I just felt very unwelcome and very strange in those places. And I don't think that's how a church is supposed to be, right? My second observation is that, like I said, I have been around churches and ministry for a long time. I know that people take advantage of churches, so I understand how my story may sound. None of them asked me for clarifying questions or proof or anything. They were not interested in me at all. They already had their minds made up. I think the Presbyterian Church had its decision made pretty early on that they would not be helping me. And then I think the Methodist Church hid behind their policies and procedures and was not able to help me in that way as well. My third observation is this. I understand that these churches are organizations. I understand that they have policies and procedures. That the Presbyterian Church doesn't hand out money. The Methodist Church, you need to have a driver's license for liability reasons. I understand that. And yet, all of the people that I encountered, none of them were willing to help me out personally, apart from their organization. None of these people were interested in hearing my story. None of them were interested in helping me person to person. And I am like 99% sure that the thought crossed their mind that, hey, you know, I can help this nice young man out myself and give him some of my own money apart from the church. Why am I certain of this? Because it's a human reaction. When you're faced with this, no matter how long or how brief you entertain the thought, that thought pops up into your mind. So I almost guarantee you that that thought crossed their mind, and yet they all decided against that thought. Now I assume these church workers that they're all Christians. I mean, I think that's a pretty safe guess. What does it mean to be a Christian, right? It means to be a follower of Jesus, right? Paul talks about followers of Christ being ambassadors of Christ. We represent Christ to the world. That's what Christians are supposed to do. And did I see Christ represented well in these churches? No, I didn't. And I'm not saying that these churches are bad as a whole, because these are single instances. I'm not going to judge these churches based on this one event that takes place. So I hope that they do a lot of other really good things for the kingdom of God and for ministry. But in these instances, from my personal encounters, these churches let me down. But this day was not a total letdown for the ecclesia, because you see, I did see God in the church. Not in the Methodist Church, not in the Presbyterian Church, but as the church, as the body of Christ. Because you see all these people, all these friends and loved ones and acquaintances and strangers, all over social media, people were willing to help me out. People were telling me to give them a call, that they had contacts in St. Louis that can help me out. So I know that no matter what, even if Regions failed me even if my tank ran out in the parking lot, I would be okay, because I had a whole cloud of witnesses there behind me, supporting me. And so I was going to be taken care of either way. So while I didn't see Jesus in these smaller specific churches, I did see him throughout all these people, ranging from Tennessee all the way up through Iowa to Indiana. Just all these different people are willing to help me out. And so that was extremely humbling and extremely meaningful to me. As I was driving to St. Louis, I was talking to my friend Nick, and he said that this would at least make a good story. And I told him that I need better stories because a lot of my stories end up making me look like an idiot. But such is life, or something like that.